I'm Elizabeth Ricks from Hatha Equus, and this is my second Facebook Live Thursday Thoughts with Elizabeth. I'm hoping to do one of these every Thursday, moving on forward, hopefully till the end of time, or at least, as long as it is valuable to people. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this. Today, I want to talk about relaxation. And this was super prevalent because every Thursday I have a lesson with my trainer, Nishan Cook. So the things that come up on Thursdays are likely inspired by what I experienced in that lesson because it's really fresh. So let's talk relaxation. I'll tell you a little bit. Well, first of all, before I get into my lesson and why relaxation is really relevant, last week, I had a couple students say that they really liked the Gestora picture that I drew in the background. And so today, I just went into my shed and grabbed this picture that I drew of a horse that I trained dressage with. Her name is Dee, or Desiderata is her beautiful full name. And Dee, it's just so funny that this was the first picture that I saw. Here, I'll give you a little bit more time to absorb it because she's so beautiful. Dee was a dressage horse that I trained with that was the opposite of relaxed. Just this very, very nervous, high energy mare that, had all sorts of unregulated hormones. She was described as hot, as a lot of horses that are nervous and high energy are. And so I might circle back to her at some point in this talk because she's a horse that stuck with me, as they all do. But I'll jump back to my lesson with Nishan and Riggins, my Mustang. We came into his space and we were not relaxed. And I say we because I think Riggins was carrying a little bit of whatever I woke up with on the wrong side of the bed. And, sensing my just emotional irregularity in the moment. And so we, instead of powering through that nervousness like maybe I had done in the past with dressage and certainly on a horse like Dee, we would just almost ignore the nervousness and push through it in hopes that, through a session where the horse is working his or her body, that we would ultimately find relaxation at some point. And that can, it is a way, it is something that can work for some horses, but not all. And actually, as the more I evolve in my training, very few. There are some horses that just come out with a ton of energy, and that movement is just the way to help relieve it. Just like some people wake up and they need to run, that's how they meditate. Some people meditate by hiking, and some people meditate by sitting still on a couch. And with Riggins, he's definitely not a hiker. And so what we did in my lesson was really powerful, I think. I didn't take up any contact in the reins for the rest of, we started out with warm-up where I took up contact, and that's when he dropped his back, and it was like pushing a ball of gum, a big ball of gum. He was so sticky, if you will, which is an expression we like to use in dressage. And so instead, I let out the reins, and we just spent the whole lesson just walking and trotting and halting around over some cavalettes, and in a circle we would stop by some cones. And I'm just so grateful for Nishan to give us that space where the dressage lesson is actually about building the trust in a horse. So I just kind of fundamentally believe that everything must start and stop in relaxation. Karen Rolfe, one of my mentors, loves this expression and articulates it so beautifully. Like, everything must start in relaxation and everything must end in relaxation. In the middle, you might add some energy, you might have some constructive conflict or some tension, but it has to always return to relaxation. And if it doesn't, then you haven't grown your horsemanship or riding. So there is so much value in the lesson that I did with Nishan today, because we stayed in relaxation. And anytime we asked for a trot, it came from a place of trust and conversation. And I think that is absolutely imperative, both of those things, trust and conversation with the horse. If a horse knows that you're listening to him or her, right? You know, they look at something and you don't ignore it, you acknowledge that they've seen it, and you say, okay, great, can you move forward, instead of move on, you nag. That builds trust. It's a conversation instead of a dictatorship, right? And so we were doing so much of that today. I was asking him, okay, are you ready to trot? And he'd give me an ear back, and I'd say, okay, you ready now? And then I'd feel that energy in him, and that's when I asked. I asked in my mind, in my body, my internal cells, my abdomen, and then maybe moved my hips into a trot rhythm, and then just hugged him with my legs. And that's how we broke out of that sticky, gummy walk that he had in the beginning. And it more than anything, dressage or all things horses is not about the technique. Like, we actually know everything that we need to do flying changes, and I know everything. I know everything. I know my body knows how to do flying changes and canter pirouettes and even piaffe and passage, and so that stuff I can communicate with him, and then when he's conditioned to do it, if the trust is there, then it's going to be just more available. But I cannot have the trust unless I'm having that conversation with him. And without the trust in the conversation, I can't get relaxation. And this was just really an exciting thing for me to share today, because it really is the heart of dressage and horsemanship, the communication, the trust, the relaxation. And then from there, we can start adding more to our movement repertoire, if you will. So I guess I'll circle back to Dee Dee, beautiful Dee Dee, and just kind of maybe paint the opposite picture. Now, she was a very successful dressage horse, but she never really felt relaxed, because we gave her a box to live in, and when she, I believe, never really felt like she had a voice. She just had to do what we asked of her in that moment all the time. Now, there is a time and a place where we might say, okay, horse, this is what I need from you. You've got to go for it. But I don't feel like that should be the route that you take in training, because training is really about the development of the skills, right? So if we're always kind of shutting down her voice, his or her voice, and saying, just go for it, just move your body in this framework and let's not question it, then that's the difference between where a horse becomes a vehicle versus a partner. Okay, well, that I hope that makes sense. I just never remembered Dee Dee in relaxation, and I'm so grateful for her to help inspire a way of being with the horses that really is symbiotic and really is in partnership. That was my thought for today. I'm sure as soon as I hang up, I'm going to have so much more to say about it, but for now, I think that encapsulates the biggest message I just wanted to put across let me know if you have any questions, if you have any things that you relate to, and let me know how we can help you apply it to your partnership with your horse. Okay, that's it for now. Look forward to seeing you soon. And happy Thursday. Much love from Hatha Equus.